So something that I found out last week is that Dave was also in Odyssey of the Mind. And what you did yours for a few years, didn't
I
you?
did mine over about 3 or 4 years.
Okay,
Yes.
so I did mine for just 1 year. And come to find out, I believe on the air today, Lisa was involved in it as well. I did
Wow.
mine, I think it was eighth grade year. And there was kind of two different sets for Odyssey of the Mind. Let me see here. Odyssey of the Mind. And there was one that was more artistic, and then there was one that was more kind of engineer science based. And out of our junior high, we had both. We had one group that was artistic. They were doing like a play from Hamlet or something like that. And then we had the more engineering science side. And you wanted to have a theme set up. And the way that the themes worked is you could incorporate it into, any way that you can. And we went like above and beyond with our theme. So we did Star Wars. So remember, this is before the prequels. This would have been 93 or 94, I think.
Okay.
So no new stuff from Star Wars. But what we did was one of the moms from our group made robes. So I was Obi-Wan Kenobi. My buddy Zach, he dressed up like Luke Skywalker from A New Hope. We had one of the girls on the team. She was dressed up as, oh man, Aunt Beru, because it was really the only female we could kind of think of. There's another girl that was dressed up as Princess Leia. Gosh, I can't remember who else, because there was a couple more people on the team. But that was kind of the main cast, at least, that was there. And we had a full choreographed fight scene with the lightsabers. And this was before you could buy the ones that would light up. So it was just PVC pipe that we painted to be these fake lightsabers. And we took a garbage can and we painted it like R2D2. So
Okay.
it was that was our R2D2, and we put speakers inside of it, so it played the Star Wars theme song when we came in, and it played throughout the whole time we were performing. And then we had like a big old, like, we built a backdrop because Zach's dad was in construction, so he helped us build this stuff. We took an umbrella and we painted it, and one of the kids had an airbrush kit, so we were able to make it look like the Death Star. Whole big old setup, like it was pretty cool. So we came in, and the premise was there was like 7 or 8 stations, and you started on one side. There's a balloon on the other. You have to build and design cars to get from point A to point B, and point B is where the balloon is at. The first one, it's a straight shot. All it does is go straight. And then after that, there's kind of different obstacles that you have to get through. There was one that had bumps, so it's going like this. So you had to have one that was kind of sturdy and a good suspension system so it could get through and not get off center, because you weren't allowed to use remote control cars, which was funny because as we were in there, one of the first groups that went, they're just driving like remote control cars around. And we were like, they clearly did not read the rules on this thing. And I think they ended up getting DQ'd. And then there was another one to where, like, if this is where you're starting and this is where the balloon is at, it was like 1 point if you just went straight. It was 3 points if you went this kind of an arc. But if you were really to get one to go at a big wide arc, it was like 5 or 6 points or something like that. And we had it all set up and timed out. It was great. And it was, man, I think it was going way out. It was coming around, and we missed the balloon by like just a couple of inches. And fortunately, it didn't end up biting us in the butt. So you have all of that stuff that you prep for beforehand, and then what did they call the thing when you go meet with the judges and they give you like a question? It was something else.
Right. Yeah, I know they did have that. It was a kind of like a creative aspect, I guess, of it, where they, like you said, they give you a question, and then you would just have to come up with spontaneous, random answers,
Mm-hmm.
to their question, and then they would assign points based on those answers.
Exactly. And so and for us, it was with the science based question. There was we're in this room, and it had to do with these cubes, and each cube had a specific amount of points. It was math is what it was. I can't really remember exactly what it was, but it was math. But we won. We took first place in county. That was the county competition. So we moved on to state. That, and remember, this is why it got brought up, because last week we were talking about things that you remember where you were at when you got the news that something had happened. like you really vividly remember 9/11, or for me, for this one, it was vividly remember getting the news that Kurt Cobain had died. Because I remember being in like a billiard hall on the campus of Oregon State University, which is where the state finals for Odyssey of the Mind was at. And there they had a TV, and it was Kurt Loder, and he was talking about Kurt Cobain passing away. So I remember seeing that there, and we did good. We did really good, but we came in second.
In second
We
place.
came in second place at state, so we just missed making it to nationals by, and I think it was just by a few points or something like that. But that was the only year that I did it. So how about you? What was your Odyssey of the Mind experience like for the 3 years that you did it?
Well, it was the first 2 years. It was the exact same thing that you did. It was it was the more arts themed, kind of a thing where we did like Alice in Wonderland one year. It was just kind of a skit that we put,
Mm-hmm.
that we had some sort of creative dialogue going on between everyone dressed up or created, the scene made out of whatever materials you could find, which is generally like, old boxes and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that you would have laying around the house, PVC pipe and yada. And then the last year we didn't compete in the more art or theater aspect of it. We did the science part, which was building a structure out of balsa wood, and they would place weights on top of the structure to see at what point would the
When it would
structure
break?
break. Yeah. So looking here on the Wikipedia for Odyssey of the Mind, it shows that they had nationals in '84, and they still have it to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been going on, for the past
35 years.
35 years. Yeah, about 35 years.
Yeah, you can go to their website. Apparently, their big sponsor is Arm& Hammer, because that's right there on the front page of their website. Um, but no, it was a lot of fun. I was glad that I
Absolutely.
did it. I kind of wished I had done it more. Um, I remember I was glad I didn't have to do the art one. I think I would have been okay at it, but I just remember not wanting to,
Like to act?
yeah, like having to act in front of people just would
Really?
have freaked me out. Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
I wouldn't have been okay with that. But what was funny too is my buddy Zach. He was on my basketball team and a lot of sport, like soccer team, a lot of sports teams that I played on growing up. And there was 2 games growing up where I hit buzzer beaters to win the game. And this somehow locked me into being like clutch and being able to operate under pressure. And I fucking hated it. I hated it because for the first one, the first, but and this was all. I think it was in the same season. It was in like it was like seventh and eighth grade or something like that. I hit one buzzer beater that was inside the key, and it was just kind of a little sky hook that I hit. Not really a sky hook. I think it was like 5'1". But I made it. We won the game. And then there was another one where and I knew it was coming to me. I'm standing under the hoop. Adam Steele's got the ball. He's broken away. There's no defender around me. And he throws it to me with just a few seconds, and it hits me in the hands, and I drop it. And I'm like,
Oh,
and all of a sudden, like, ah! So I pick it up, and honestly, I just went like that, and I flipped the ball over my head,
uh-huh.
and I made it, and we won the game.
Oh, shit.
And so not everybody got to perform in the judges portion where like our team had like 6 people or there's too many, so you're only allowed to take 4 in. And I remember when they were like, well, who here handles pressure well? And immediately Zach goes, well, I know Brandon does because he's made 2 buzzer beaters in basketball. And I'm like, no, like I don't want the stress, like I don't want to do this, like I'm perfectly fine with building the cars. You guys can go in and do the super high pressure stuff. And it didn't work out. I had to go in anyway. I still got roped into it, but yeah, like I remember that like so vividly. Zach saying that, and my heart just going sinking, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel good. Like I don't want to deal with this pressure. But apparently, I did good because we took first in county and we took second in state. But yeah, God, man, it was just so nerve wracking.
It definitely was nerve wracking. I remember, walking into these high schools, which the competitions were generally held at, and you would have, 50 to, I don't know, 60 teams that were competing or something, and you would have to stand in front of judges or stand in front of an
Mm-hmm.
audience, and then go over this 5 minute or 10 minute play with, it was a time limit. You had a certain amount of time to set up, and then you had a certain amount of time to perform the act, and then when you were done, it was just sort of nerve wracking.
Yeah, there was because and it was you were in the gym,
Mhm.
and I remember because it was like we're playing the soundtrack to Star Wars,
Okay.
but it's not that loud. So like we had the speakers in the garbage can and it wasn't enough. So I ended up pulling them out and I just remember it wasn't as loud as I was hoping because I was really hoping and I just remember sitting there and I'm working on this one and I'm filling around and it was like a really quiet part of the song and you could hear a pin drop and it's a full gym because it's all different age groups that are there. You got into elementary school through high school and stuff. And I just remember I'm filling around with it and you can just hear an absolute pin drop. And then the car goes and it just stops. I'm like, oh. I'm like, no, why are you doing this? So I grabbed it really quick and my buddy Zach is like, dude, hurry up, man. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is my friend. And then I missed the balloon. I missed it. That was the arcing one. That was the one that had to go around. Yeah, and I remember. I think that's why I remember that one because that's the one that I set up and that I was doing, and it missed it by like that much. But I think my parents filmed it. I think we still have it on tape because as it's going through, it was either that one or the one that was on like that had the bumps that it had to go over. Either one of those that went through, and it would just miss. Do you hear the crowd going, oh, when it just misses it? But anyway, let me see here. Who's got a bed? You got a bad tooth, Dave?
I do.
Oh, because Cobra Commander's asking if Buzz would let you borrow his bike because apparently you need to remove a bad tooth.
I mean,
I wouldn't recommend removing it that way.
No. I love my front teeth.
Yeah, those are the ones that'll pop out there for you if you're looking for that one. But anyway, so that was Odyssey of the Mind. It's great. If you get a chance to do it, if your kids get a chance to do it, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And it really it gets you thinking because it's one of those things that really makes you problem solve. And if you do, let the kids do the stuff because that was one of the things that we had a real advantage with the parents that we had is that they were very hands-on, but not to the point they're doing stuff. They were able to help us find an answer, but we had to build the stuff. We had to design the cars. We had to come up with the solutions. They didn't give them to us. So that we were very, very privileged when it came to the parents that were helping us out with that stuff. Like my buddy Zach, his dad, who works in construction, he did the stuff that we couldn't do. But when it came to sawing the wood and hammering the nails and everything else that took to build this big sign and everything, he's like, do this. He showed us, and we had to physically do it. So we had a real distinct advantage there when it came to that. Final topic for today's AfterBuzz is the Serfs and Tsars. This is something that I think I brought up on the morning show, and I believe I brought it up last week on the AfterBuzz. But this is something that I don't think you would get away with now. So it was sixth grade, and when I was in sixth grade was when the Soviet Union split up and it divided all back into its individual countries. And so a way to teach this was every single, like we clustered our desks together. Our classroom was on the bottom floor on the far end of the school. And where it was two classrooms, but they had one of those walls that would, you could slide the wall shut. You know what I mean? Like you could split it into two, or you could open it up and create one giant classroom. And we pretty consistently had it opened up into one giant classroom. And because it was these two teachers, they planned their lesson plans together and the syllabus and everything together. And the way that it worked out was they grouped all the students' desks into 4 or 5, and each group of desks was a different country that the Soviet Union had split into. And they were treating it as if this was the way it was way back in the day when there was serfs and czars. And I can't remember specifically if it was because you did well in class or if it was just a random drawing. I think it was if you did well in class, you got to become a czar. Like you ran your group of desks. Like you were a czar was basically a king is what they were. And the serfs were kind of the slaves. And it would be one of those situations where if your backpack was over there and let's say your snack was over there or something else was over in your backpack, you could tell hey, can you go to my backpack and get my stuff?
Really?
Yeah. Or if you guys were all taking a big bathroom break and everybody had to line up for the bathroom, all the serfs got to go first. Like it was and I think this even carried over into lunch, and you got priority if you were a serf. You got priority over everybody else, and you could basically get the other kids to do whatever you want. The time when this didn't exist was on the playground during recess, and that's when the payback would fucking happen from the dumb bullies who were a serf. I don't think I was ever a czar. I don't remember being one. I think I was a serf the whole time because I really didn't care. Because again, you know how Buzz's his motto is path of least resistance.
Yes.
Mine was always least amount of work possible.
Okay.
And that's why I was able to coast through school. I was fortunately blessed with a fairly intelligent brain, but unfortunately, a big part of that brain was like, I really don't want to do it. If I can do it tomorrow, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Or if I can do just this much work to get by, I'm going to do just this much work. And man, that went on through high school. Actually, it bled into college a little bit too, because I was able to look at my transcripts a few years ago, and I was like, fuck, like I was getting C's and stuff, and I'm like, holy crap, like I really didn't care. As long as I got a passing grade and it was enough to not get an F. I remember I got one F. I'm going on a tangent here, by the way. I got one F, and it was some food and nutrition class. And I showed up, and this was when I was like 19 years old or 20 years old, and I was in college. And when I showed up, because I still needed like my physical education credit. And as I did it, in the first class, they're talking about, what was it? Oh, like a food journal. Like you have to track all the stuff that you basically put into your body. And I was partying my ass off at that time, like 19, 20, 21 years old. I'm like, I'm not going to write down how much beer I'm drinking on this stupid thing. And I didn't want to do it. So I just didn't go to the class. And I meant to drop it, but I missed the drop by one day. So it kept me enrolled and I failed it. And it still haunts me to this day because I still have nightmares about that shit. Like I still dream about that shit. It's fucked up. Like I still have these dreams where I show up to this class and it's a health class and I'm unprepared and they're giving the final. And I'm like, fuck, like it happens about once a month. Like that's how frequent it is. And so that's why it kind of it still doesn't sit well with me. And eventually I think I'm going to have to go get my bachelor's degree to get that monkey off my back to finally get, because I have my associates. My associates is in radio broadcasting. I would be about 2 years away from a bachelor's right now if I wanted to continue to pursue it. So it definitely is something that hangs heavy on the head. But that was always my thought process, was as long as I can coast by. Because remember, I talked about it here. The one time I got straight A's was, I think, 4th or 5th grade. And then I was like, well, that was fucking stupid. Like, I busted my ass. And I don't know any more than I knew before. I know all of the stuff. I just don't want to do the work. So, like, that was just the way that I was when I was I was going to say kid, but, it went into adulthood.
So that Surf and Czar program never pushed you to become,
No, I was cool being a serf, man.
Yeah.
Like I was perfectly fine with it. I was like, yeah, you want? I'll go get you. I got something in my backpack too. I'll go get you. Like I didn't care. And then like when we were lined up for bathroom, and I'm like, I really don't like. I'm not gonna piss my pants. Like I'm fine.
That's interesting because I'm sure that's what the program was for, right?
Yeah, it was designed. It's designed to get you. And I have no problems. Like if my kid was in school and they did something like that today, I'd have no problems with it because that's what it does. It's what its goal is.
Right.
But I was unfortunate, and man, this is where I'm fucked. She might not be my biological daughter, but man, she's got so many traits like me when I was a kid. And I see that and it pisses me off. And I'm trying to help her through that, but she fights it the way I would have fought it. And I'm like, fuck,
that's me.
You're not even my blood. And you're pain in my ass like I was. Like, you know what they always tell you? Like, you're going to get cursed with children that are worse than you were when you were a kid.
Absolutely.
She's not worse than I was, but there are a lot of traits that she has. And that's the thing. She's brilliant. Like, she's absolutely brilliant. We had one of the dogs, Rocky, the Yorkie. He got sick past couple of days. Puking and shitting all over the carpet, and the whole fucking house stinks. But, he's got a tummy ache. And so my wife, she was telling me the story earlier in the day in the morning. All of a sudden, you hear the that sound, and the kid, she's like, "Mommy, Rocky's gonna throw up." So she goes running upstairs and she goes to scoop him up, and he's right outside the bathroom. And as she goes to swing him around to be on the tile, all over the wall, man, all over the wall, dude. So of course I laughed my ass off at it when she told me, but she wasn't too pleased with that. But yeah, so he's sick. And as we've already put the kid down upstairs, and all of a sudden we hear her yelling, "Mommy, mommy, mommy! Rocky's gonna throw up!" And we're like, "God, again!" And you just hear that thing. And so we run upstairs. We don't get it. And at this point, he hasn't really eaten or drank anything, so not a whole lot comes out. But then our kid is like, "Well, what? I don't want to shut my door because we keep the doors open in case she needs us in the middle of the night or something like that." Which did I ever tell you the time she scared the shit out of us because she looked like the chick from The Ring?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But so she's like, "So what do I do?" And my mom's like, "Don't worry, we'll take care of it. You just focus on going back to bed." So the wife and I go back downstairs to watch some TV, and then we go back upstairs to go to bed. Our kid had propped all this shit in front of her door like she was boarding up for a zombie apocalypse to keep Rocky out of her room. Like, it was brilliant. It didn't work though. He just climbed right over it and laid down. I mean, fortunately, he didn't, throw up or anything like that. After that, but it was a pretty brilliant move on her part. It just, unfortunately, it didn't work for her. But going back to the one night we're asleep, and I just hear, and like when you're half asleep and you kind of hear something,
Yep.
and it's in your dream as well. I hear, "Mommy,"
Oh no.
and I'm like, "Oh," which terrifies me anyway. And then all of a sudden, my wife, I don't think we were married at this point yet, but she jumps, like she moves really quick. And so that startles me. And I look up, and the street light comes in this one window in the hallway. So she's backlit. So
Oh
she's
god.
just a silhouette, and her hair's all like kind of like it's long and black, and it's kind of scraggly because she's been sleeping. And she's just like this. And
No.
she's like, "Mommy," and I'm like, "Whoa!" Like, scared the shit out. And I told my wife, I'm like, if her head starts spinning, you're on your own. Like, it's survival of the fittest. I'm gonna fucking shove you into her, and I'm gonna jump out the window. Like, I am gone. Like, I'm not gonna be around that shit. That's terrifying. But oh my God, that was just so fucking scary. But anyway,
I've told my kids if they start walking up the walls or hanging off the ceiling that I've got the shotgun in the
Yeah.
closet, so I'm sorry.
That's no joke, man. Like, you don't know what's going on there. Which reminds me, I had a really horrifying dream last night. So I was using the weighted blanket. For some reason, I've been really like panicky and like anxiety ridden over the past few days.
Okay.
It hasn't been good. It hasn't been fun. I'll tell you that. But you eventually, I guess, you just fucking get used to it. But I've been using the weighted blanket because it helps you sleep, and it also kind of helps with anxiety and stuff like that. It's kind of like putting a thunder vest on a dog. Um, and Man, so it was basically this dream was there was some sort of like fuck, you know what it is? I'm reading that Absolute Carnage comic
Comics.
series with Carnage and Venom and everything else like that right now, and uh, I think that's what fed this dream. And my wife always says that too. She goes, "You have fucked up dreams because you watch scary movies." I'm like, "I haven't watched a scary movie in a long time because you won't watch them with me." Like, I had to watch The Haunting of Hill House all by myself. I had to watch it all by myself. I'm fine with that, but she won't watch them with me. And it was this weird thing where it was like there was something inside me that was like a demon, like it wasn't good, and I could live my life with it and it would be okay, but I would always have this and I think some of it too was like with the anxiety and the panic attacks that I've been having over the past like 4 days, where it's like you could live like that, or you could confront it, and if you do that, it's gonna escape, but you've got to battle it and fucking get rid of it. And so what I had to do was there was something like weird thing on the computer that I had to do, and you basically just how the slime in Ghostbusters 2, when they yelled at it, they made it angry. Like, it
Yes.
fed off emotion. Like, if it was happy emotion, it was happy slime. If it was angry, it fed off negative emotions. And that's what this thing was. And so like I had to like just yell and belittle, and out of nowhere this like fucking demon shows up in this dream, and the whole time I'm in this weighted blanket. I'm like this, like fucking asleep, like pinned down. And I just remember, and it was so vivid, it was so real because it's relating to things that are happening in my life, like this anxiety and all this other shit going on. And I'm fucking battling this thing. It's fucking horrifying, scaring the shit out of me. And then the dog starts barking outside and wakes me up in the middle of the dream. So as I wake up, the demon fucking goes and disappears. I'm like, I didn't get to beat it, and I got to go let the dog out because she's barking in the kennel outside. I was like, fuck. So then I got to go outside, and I'm still a little bit terrified from this dream, by the way. So I'm like peeking around the corners and stuff. Like, do you ever have that happen? Like where you watch something weird and you're just kind of like, like.
I've woken up with some pretty bad dreams where I'm clearing the house out, damn near. So
Yeah, like it's pretty damn terrifying. So I get outside. Goddamn dog just wanted to play. Like, God bless her. She's a sweetheart. I absolutely love Lucy, but fucking let me sleep. It was 2 o'clock. I had an hour left to sleep. Just let me fucking sleep. So go back upstairs, maybe fall back asleep for like 20 minutes or something like that. And oh, David's saying maybe the dog was barking at the demon, dude. Something up like this is some Son of Sam shit. I hope I'm not going crazy. Like, knock on wood. But then and went right back into the dream, and the whole time, and I'm even telling myself, like, I'm still kind of in a half kind of like sleep as I'm walking down the stairs to go let the dog out, and whatever else. And so I go back upstairs. I'm still kind of groggy, but I'm like, my heart's racing because of this dream, and then the dog and everything else. So I'm like, am I going to be able to fall back asleep? And I'm like, I have to. I got to get rid of this fucking demon. I got to beat the shit out of this thing, man. So then I fall asleep, and then I get right back into the dream, and I start doing the same things I was doing, where like you're yelling at this thing, and then the demon pops out, and it's like, okay, there it is, and I'm starting to battle this thing. My fucking alarm goes off. Never got to finish, man. So it's still there. It's still in me. I get to deal with anxiety and panic attacks for the rest of my life, apparently, because this dream's never going to fucking end. But that was my night last night, so it's pretty entertaining, not going to lie. Weighted blankets create very vivid dreams. Very vivid dreams. But I do recommend them. Like if you suffer from sleep problems, anxiety, or anything like that, I do recommend them because they do work. Although be careful, because I think something like I tweaked my back working out, and I think at one point when I went to move, I had it completely covering me, and when I went to move, I twisted wrong, like I was off balance, and it fucked my back up. I think that's one of the things that strained my back was because this weighted blanket I twisted incorrectly, and I think that caused a problem in my back. But anyway, maybe next week I'll have an update on these dreams because I'm using the weighted blanket again tonight, and I'm going in. I'm going in after this thing. We're going to solve this problem. We're going to solve this issue.
I hope so, man.
Hopefully we'll be able to give a conclusion to this thing. And God damn it, Lucy, stay asleep tonight. Please don't wake up. But she's been good. This is like the one, like that's the thing. The whole month or so that we've had her, she hasn't barked until like 6:30 in the morning, and she does that on the weekends. She's adorable when I'm up at 3, I go let her out, and you can tell when I let her out, she just wants to fucking just sleep. She's like, "Come on, man, like really? You turned the light on. What are you doing?" And it's like, "Go pee." So she goes pee, and she goes in her kennel, and she's like, "Okay, you can go now. Like, I appreciate you. Thank you for doing that, but I want to sleep." But then she's like on a clockwork, like a rooster, man. 6:30 every morning, at least on the weekends. And the wife says it's when she starts barking during the weekdays as well. But so there you go. So somehow we got from Serfs and Tsars to my demon dream that I had last night. But the Serfs and Tsars thing, it was pretty cool. Like if it was something that they were to do in my kid's school, I would definitely back it and be behind it. Unfortunately, I do think that there would be too many parents who would be I don't know if they'd necessarily be offended by it, but I think that they would be very overly cautious when it would come to something like that. But I have absolutely no problems with that. It's like DeMarcus Lawrence from the Cowboys. When he shot down that kid because he was wearing all of his Giant stuff, he asked DeMarcus Lawrence for an autograph, and he said, "You're wearing the wrong jersey," and he kept walking. I have no problems with that. I mean, the kids, like, is it kind of a dick move? Yeah, but so what? Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And did you see the following week?
No.
He made like there was a kid wearing a DeMarcus Lawrence, I believe it was a DeMarcus Lawrence Cowboys jersey. He had a big sign that said, "I'm wearing the right jersey." DeMarcus Lawrence specifically went over to go sign that kid's stuff.
That's cool.
So I mean, at least he's being consistent, So anyway, we'll wrap up this edition of the AfterBuzz. If you guys have anything, I'll give you guys about 60 seconds here to pump anything into. If you want to laugh at me because of my silly dreams and all the other shit, you are more than welcome to do that. They're kind of funny. Go ahead, hit it up in the YouTube chat. And remember, make sure you guys are clicking the like button down there. Make sure you guys are clicking for the notifications, subscribing, and also, if you want, share this on social media and let people just, bask in the glory of my horrifying dreams that I have. If you want to put it on Facebook or anything like that. BC saying, "Ease off the TV." I don't watch that much TV. That's the thing. I don't have that much time. It took me 2 weeks to get through The Boys. I used to watch a ton of TV, but at this point, I really don't. I just don't have the time for it. And I'm pretty sure 90 Day Fiance isn't filled with demons. Because that's some of the only TV I'm able to watch because I want to watch something with my wife and that's something that we both are entertained by. David says, at least you don't yell out Golden Tate is here. I did that a few weeks ago. That's funny. Golden Tate is here. BC says you watch more than I do. It doesn't mean I'm watching a lot though. I'm trying to think. Like it took me probably 5 days to finish it because I would watch it in 10 to 15 minute segments. Plus, I've always had a really vivid imagination anyway. But I can tell you that tonight I'm taking that bitch down. All right,
Do it.
this thing's gonna happen. And I guarantee it was probably just the silly comic books I'm reading. It's you know what, BZ, it's not TV, it's the comic books I'm reading. Like, that's what it is because it's the whole absolute carnage storyline that's going on right now. But on that note, big thank you to producer Dave over there because you guys will notice pretty soon on the Buzz Adams Morning Show we're gonna have better cameras, we're gonna have better angles, we'll be able to move them, and hopefully it's not gonna be like a bad dubbed movie where the lips aren't matching what you're hearing. It's the audio will finally match up with the video, so we're going to be working on that stuff here. And yeah, so anyway, we'll have that stuff coming. So big thank you to producer Dave. On that note, you guys have yourselves a fantastic Wednesday. Get a weighted blanket. I highly recommend it. Just watch out for those crazy dreams. And next week, 10:30, we'll be right here on the KLQ YouTube channel for the AfterBuzz, 10:30 Mountain Time, 11:30 Central Time, and of course, bright and early tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. for the Buzz Adams Morning Show. See ya.